Good morning. It is Thursday, August 28th. I'm Elizabeth Hasselbeck. We begin with the Fox News alert. A plot against America. Just weeks before 9/11, officials confirming an increase of jihadi terror talk. So will the president rush to act? Maybe. But first, he's got another meeting.
The idea that we have to wait for an invitation, what is this, a wedding? This is war.
This morning, the White House response is under fire.
And if ISIS's goal is not obvious enough, this guy makes it clear.
I don't want your Sharia law. You have no choice if I show it. It's coming to a place near you. It's coming to a place near you.
You want a worldwide Islamic caliphate.
Of course we do.
Great. And that's not all he said. We'll have more coming up.
Right, and massive rip current slamming coasts across the country.
Whoa.
Lines back to you guys.
Good surf, but very dangerous.
Exactly. Sure is. Be careful. Goodness. Thanks, Ainsley.
You know, for the last 10 years plus, as Labor Day comes to an end, we immediately shift gears and we talk about 9/11. And we talk about what this means, what has changed with the rebuilding of the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and what about the families. Now we're also hearing that the jihadists, the ones who perpetrated that crime and that murder, are using that as impetus to attack us again. Hence, a couple of years ago when it comes to Benghazi. Could more moves, could another hit be in the works for this year?
Right.
Well,
intelligence agencies have registered similar spikes in threats to the United States ahead of previous 9/11 anniversaries. Are asking everyone to remain vigilant during this time.
So Intel is picking up chatter amongst the Islamist terror networks, not only on the phone, but on the internet as well. And so what's scary about this time, though, is once upon a time we just had to worry about Al-Qaeda. Well, now we got to worry about ISIS. And you know what? Behind the scenes, ISIS and Al-Qaeda are actually competing to be the #1 terror network in the world. They would love to pull something off on this 9/11. Will they? Don't know. You know, there's always a spike in chatter just before September the 11th, every anniversary. But what's curious is, what is taking the President of the United States so long? We understand he had a meeting with the principals on Tuesday. They're trying to get him simply on the same page. Mr. President, you've already executed airstrikes in the country of Iraq. Just go over that imaginary border and bomb them in Syria. That's all. Listen to this.
Iraq has invited the United States in to help address the threat from ISIL. We have undertaken a range of strikes, as you know, and we have a broad, comprehensive strategy. But I would say that is one significant difference.
Yeah. One significant difference.
Invited.
We were invited into Iraq. By the way, without a status of forces agreement, we also have people on the ground. Of course, they just tell people where to hit, I guess, or point out where the airstrikes. I thought that's why we pulled out a couple of years ago, because we couldn't get the status of forces agreement. So, having put that aside for a second, let me ask you something. If intelligence reports, according to the West Point report was just released, that we saw the growth of ISIS, and it's projected for the last 4 years, now that it's established itself as a state, and they have running water, they have rules and courts, and they are actually keeping the lights on as a mini country has formed. Why is it that we're sitting here in a matter of days to come up with a comprehensive strategy on how to fight him? It makes absolutely no sense. And for the president to sit with his advisors, either two stories. The president has a plan and doesn't want to execute it, or he's sitting with his advisors, is the other story in the Daily Beast, and they have yet to give him a comprehensive plan on what happens after you bomb and what is the big picture. You have the wrong advisors. You have the wrong people in a meeting. Look at General Jack Keane. You got David Petraeus wearing a regular civilian clothes. You got to get the right people to advise you or execute the plan they've given you.
Sure, generals who are willing to take action under the commander-in-chief's orders, it certainly would help. You know, we have time ticking right now, and I'm not sure what more of an invitation to their party we need than the beheading of one of our own, Charles Krauthammer.
And another one's lined up, by the way, to be beheaded.
Charles Krauthammer wisely asked the same thing.
The idea that we have to wait for an invitation, what is this, a wedding? This is war. You go in if you have to. Who cares if you get an invitation? If we have to go into Syria, the president decides it's important, then we do it, whether Assad likes it or not. That's what war's about.
Is what war is about. So the big question is, with the meeting with the president's advisors today, is he going to finally pull the trigger on something? You know, the Pentagon is very good. They've known about this threat for years. They have presented plans, but the one person who has said, no, I'm going to wait, is Barack Obama. Is he going to change his mind today? Maybe he already has. Let's just hope, because something's got to be done over there.
But you need a comprehensive plan, not just a U.S. plan. Australia, Britain, the people in the region have to cooperate. If we just bomb and there's no plan for tomorrow, it'll look like Libya.
Or are we to wait till two of our enemies right now, Al-Qaeda and ISIS, actually join forces again? Because at that moment, we're all going to be in trouble. But this new overnight, the second American killed fighting with the terror group ISIS has just been identified. This is, we are learning shocking new details about 3 other alleged American terrorists. They may all be from the same high school. Peter Ducey, good morning to you. This is startling information. What more do you know?
Elizabeth, we know that second American from Minnesota, Abdirahman Muhammad, has apparently been killed fighting alongside ISIS militants in Syria, and he was killed in the same battle as another American who took up arms alongside ISIS fighters, Douglas MacArthur McCain. Now, sources are telling Fox News that Muhammad's family received a picture of his dead body, but that the State Department hasn't called them yet to confirm he's been killed. And the State Department tells us they're still looking into reports of his death in battle. A third American, Troy Castigar, attended Robbinsdale Cooper High School in Minnesota with Douglas MacArthur McCain, and he was also killed fighting over in Somalia in 2009. A sweatshirt with that Cooper Hawks logo has been seen in videos from the front lines. Although Americans are not the only ones fighting overseas that decision makers inside the U.S. intel community are worried about.
The truth is that ISIS is a growing threat to the United States. You've heard Oliver North talk about some of the numbers, but don't forget about Canada. They believe that there's maybe as many as 500 Canadians fighting, and all you're just a car ride away from driving across that border and doing something to the United States.
And it's not just men from Minnesota that ISIS wants. The militants are also now apparently trying to convince women to join the fight overseas as well. Back to you in New York.
All right, Peter Ducey with the live report. So that's troubling to think that there three American high school guys grew up and then they wound up to work for the other side. And that's also, you combine that with our lead story about how they're picking up this additional chatter in advance of 9/11. You know, what we've seen over the last couple of years are these lone wolves. These guys from Minnesota, the definition of lone wolves. And with the run-up to the September the 11th anniversary, all it takes is just one of these nitwits to do something stupid.
Right. We're about to talk to Captain Pete Hegseth, how in magazines are actually now putting out instructions on how to create bombs in different locations from these lone wolves, which may be to come, God forbid. Well, if the goal of ISIS there isn't even clear, you may want to hear it straight from a London imam who spoke with Sean Hannity last night, detailing their goals.
I don't want your Sharia law, and neither does anybody in Great Britain that has a
you
brain.
have no choice. In fact, Sean, it's coming to a place near you. It's coming to a place near you.
So you're threatening to come and get me, is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that the Sharia will be implemented in the whole world.
Sharia is the promise of the
that's
what you want. You want that, thank you. You answered my question. You want a worldwide Islamic caliphate.
Of course we do.
You want a worldwide Islamic caliphate.
Alhamdulillah.
And you want Islam to rule the world.
This has been promised by the Messenger Muhammad.
And infidels should be destroyed and done with. Infidels, goodbye.
You will be liberated from the shackles of man-made law. Let me tell you something.
I don't need to be liberated by Islam. I'm a Christian.
Hey, they did it across Iraq and Syria right now. They sit there, they set up a court of law, they're amputating arms, they're whipping people, they're murdering them on the spot.
Well, and that particular imam from London, talking to Sean last night, at one point, you know, he was making stuff up. He said those stories about Christians being told you've either got to convert or we're going to kill you, happening over there, not true. We know it's true.
Disturbing. I just alluded to some brand new information about the next terror target, military bases. Those terrifying details on their next move ahead.
Then, Veterans Affairs can't seem to stop hurting our country's brave men and women. Now, veterans being depicted as Oscar the Grouch. Whoa.
Soma presents stunning support in 34D to 44G. 3-zone support lifts, shapes, smooths you, and is totally seamless. Stunning support. Exclusively at Soma and Soma.com.
My idea of a $5 deal is 2 pieces of my Popeye's Bonafide chicken, 2 sides, and a biscuit. I call it my $5 Bonafide Big Box. Okay, it's not that big, but it's big.
Love that chicken from Popeye.